understanding what your KPIs are.
Slowly rewiring my brain.
SMMA.
Like, I'm not just watching Bull, all day.
Because if you're not making content right now, it better be on the list to get started on that, like
To learn
tomorrow.
it. Yes, Trevor has a baby, exactly.
I hate your font. I'm just going to be
That's
honest.
fair.
That's why
It's not mine. It was scammy.
Do a morning sync and an afternoon sync and do some training time in the afternoon. I'm like, well, when do I sell?
I don't want them to buy these and then they just... Very smart idea.
Yes. We get you to an $8 million enterprise value.
You have money, Twitter?
That's a mom win.
Dude, these cook.
For episode 6, I traveled all the way from Las Vegas to New York City with my creative director, Jacqui, for one reason. Because Mike Tonelli is a name that you need to know, especially if you've ever thought about starting a business online. Mike isn't just any guest telling his story. He's actively building and talking about the process. And I've actually been working with him on the launch of his Amazon brand for the last 6 months. And Mike has an absolute banger of an idea. This is what makes selling on Amazon so fun, when you get to bring an idea to life. And we're gonna show you exactly what he put together, how he came up with it, and how he plans to launch it. Today, he's showing us the finished product, and Jacqui's coming along to share her expertise making image creative for a $10 million per year brand. Now, Mike already worked with another group to make his own images, but they're no Jacqui, and she's gonna walk him through what she does on our images to get the most clicks and the most conversions. In the first part of the episode, I asked Mike about how he got started and why he's the most motivated man in Amazon. And his answers showcase why he'll be successful and the right mindset that you need to make it. Then in the second half of the episode, we pull up the listing images, and Jacqui breaks down a masterclass live on how she puts together Amazon images for our brands. We'll put the visuals up on the screen side by side as they talk through them, so you'll be able to see the transformation take place. Then at the end of the episode, you know me, I'm the hype man, and I had to give Mike the vision of how he can turn this business into a multi-million-dollar brand. He's already on the path to greatness, but I wanted to lay out just exactly how he can get there. And every business owner needs a vision to millions just like this. This is one of those conversations that could change the way you think. If you're on the sidelines, you're gonna wanna hop in and start your own product side hustle. If you already have a business, it'll motivate you to build bigger and greater and get on the pathway to make $1 million exit. All right, enough hyping it up, let's dive in. This is my conversation with the one, the only, Mike Tonelli. Welcome back to the Rolle With Steve Podcast. Mike, I define you as the most motivated man in Amazon. And we're gonna break that down of why that is, but you're just motivated in general too. It's one of the things I love about you from our very first interaction. But let's set the stage for everyone who's never met you before. We have your product here in front of us. We're gonna go through and open that up, but bring me up to speed on who you are, what you do today, and then we'll delve into what you're doing on Amazon with your brand. But
Sure.
Who are you?
My name is Mike Tonelli. I'm 25 years old, born and raised in New Jersey. Currently working a career in sales, technology sales. But I've always wanted to have, I always did have a side hustle. So just to give you the background of me outside of normal job is like, I've done Shopify, I've done now Amazon, I've done social media marketing, but it's just always been something I think to become more free. So that's kind of what I see as Amazon is like, anybody can build that business. Anybody can then sell that business and become truly free in their lives. And that's what I strive to do. So
let me ask you is on that too, to break down like what you've done inside of the e-commerce space. Sure. Shopify, was that drop shipping that you were doing?
Yeah, there was everybody.
Like,
because the first thing I ever did was I think Shopify when that was freshman year of college. So I was 18, 19 years old. And then after that, social media marketing, I actually ran a social media marketing agency. So we would actually do like Instagram growth and Facebook ads and Google ads, which is a lot of just outsourcing. But what it really did teach me to do is honestly, one, like delegate, figure out how to find somebody to do something if I can't do it.
Yeah.
But two, sales. Like that's what really turned me like as a 19-year-old kid calling up people being like, give me $3,000 in Facebook ads and then like convincing them why it was a good idea. So funny enough, all the things I've done have kind of come to sales, but it's always been for me doing the business, but sales has kind of helped as well.
Yeah, and obviously like you're a master when it comes to sales, and we'll talk about some of what you're doing today. Sure. But you getting into this like digital marketing side of the house, the SMMA, that I think about SMMA and it's like is it a scam? Is it not a scam? Like everybody's doing it, everybody's teaching it now, or at least they were a couple of years ago before everyone kind of moved over to Amazon. Did you feel like SMMA as an education platform to teach people how to do digital marketing was kind of scammy?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
They're the people that I was originally working for, obviously I wouldn't say their names, but the reason why I went and did my own thing is I was like, you guys are not as above water as I thought it was. And there were times where, funny enough, once we left, me and my partner who left that company, were working there doing sales. We're like, we can do this. So we moved over and a couple clients came with us. And funny enough, those guys ended up like getting into our Instagram and like trying to like cut it down and like
the
all this
people
stuff.
that you left.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
and I have voicemails from, so again, at the end of the day, I know where those guys are now. They're not anywhere where they should be. Like they're they were less successful than where they were then. So now I see it caught up to them. So I agree though to say it was scammy.
Interesting.
And that's why a lot of people were doing it.
About this SMMA?
No,
It's Social Media Marketing Agency, right? It's what it stands for.
It started with like Instagram growth, which everybody wants to get like, 2,000 to 5,000 more followers a month.
Yeah.
But then Instagram cut that down. So we had to go to something like TikTok growth. And then eventually we went to also like Facebook ads and like for HVAC companies or lawyers. And the line was always, Mr. Customer, can you afford to take on 5 more customers a month? He's like, you can get me 5 more customers a month?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I can.
Here's
Yeah.
It was not what I wanted to officially always do, but it was something to get into the game.
Okay.
And after that, I discovered, after doing Shopify drop shipping, which, everybody does under the sun.
What was your experience like in drop shipping?
Terrible.
Yeah,
it wasn't good. It was, I had a couple products. I think I did a couple $1,000s in sales, but I just basically broke even, which.
Give me like the breakdown of your expectations. Like who told you you would do millions or whatever you dreamed of, and then versus the reality?
I think it's a great question. I think there was one guy I just knew from online. He was selling a course. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And I read it. I went through it. I'm like, this sounds pretty easy. But I think the hardest part is, and what I think I'm good at is the product development. That's the easiest part to me.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, like the running the ads and getting the marketing up, like that was something I wasn't great with. So I kind of was going in with, let's say, a good product, but I wasn't showing it to the right people. And I think that's also where I did not have, there was kind of a misconception on where it was going to be a lot easier. I thought I was just going to put it up and it would be like, oh, sale.
Yeah.
But I think it was just from finding this one person, seeing his success, which to be honest with you now, I think it was more like, I have success 1 or 2 times. Here's my numbers. Now everyone buy my course, which
dude.
Again, when I first talked to you, I was like, how much for like mentorship? And you're like, dude, I'm just talking to you.
Yeah.
And I was like blown away. I was like, okay, so you're not really like here to just make money.
People always
off
feel
it.
like there's like a right hook coming in
Yeah.
where they're like, okay, so we're on this call. Like, are you going to ask me for money now?
At the end, I
And
was like,
it's
so like, how does this work? And you're like, no, you seem cool. I was like, all right, that's
yeah,
awesome.
like let's just talk about your brand,
Yeah.
And I get how people look at it and they say, okay, like what's in this for you? And I think when you're playing the long game, there's relatively little that's in it for you in the beginning because like we're having conversations about building your brand and doing something that's going to elevate you in the future. And I get nothing out of it unless I really enjoy talking about this craft, which, as you've seen, I do enjoy it. Like I get a high off of it and feeding off of your energy and the motivation that comes from seeing it grow. Because you get to a level where like we're working on a daily basis thinking about, okay, how do we add $1 million of sales? And it's not so much that we're in the weeds talking about specific products. It's more, let's scale this machine up. We're talking about people and processes and performance reviews. And we got away from talking about like the fun products and developing it and getting through that. I mean, you feel this on a daily basis with our teams. How much of your day is broken down with developing your team versus like actually doing the fun work that we would say e-commerce actually is?
Oh yeah, like I get to do the fun part because I'm marketing it. So there's always a new fun image or social media angle, but it's definitely not. I'm excited for new products. So when he was like, "Hey, would you make images for this new person's products?" I was like, I would love to see it.
I'm excited to see it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, that's where I'm at right now. Again, I really do find the fun part is developing the product.
Yeah.
And now I have to go back and do all the boring stuff, which is like PPC and
TikTok's
gonna be fun. I think that's gonna be fun.
I think like we'll delve into those pieces, and I love that you've already articulated you're good at the product development.
Yeah.
Know that there's like the ads, the marketing, the PPC, the rest of that too. I want to finish unpacking your story a bit here because you've got a day job that you do.
Sure.
This day job doesn't seem to be inhibiting you from getting a brand started and off the ground.
No, I honestly, when I first started this job, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. The whole goal was to do this all in college, not have to get a job.
Sure.
Get a job offer, very good job offer for what I was at. And I was like, you know what? Hopefully I can still manage both of them. And I went away for 7 weeks of training for this school, or this job, if you will, in Chicago. Came back and I was like, I'm going to hit the ground running so hard. And I did. And I ended up launching my first products. And I realized, I was like, it's just adding a couple extra hours every day to doing this and being motivated into it. Like, I don't have a typical 9 to 5. Sometimes it's a 7 to 7. Sometimes it's an 8 to 9, whatever it might be. Sometimes, honestly, I can be done at 4 o'clock, get that extra hour of doing a little work at home, and then get right into what I'm doing. So I think my job, it gives me the financial and also the just time balance that I need to be able to do this.
Yeah.
When I talk to some of my friends who are like, investment bankers, or even just like guys that work in finance, like they're 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. They get home, only thing they want to do is just like get a beer in them and just watch the game. And like, I obviously could do that too, but it's just that doing that a little extra thing. It's like more fun to me than doing the actual work, even if I don't see the same financial results.
Yeah. So you're in a sales role.
Yep.
Talk to me about how you being in sales, as you're coming into this new environment of like e-commerce and selling a product, but like you're learning lessons along the way right now about how to talk to people, how to close people, how to get deals done. Do you see that as complementary to what you're getting yourself into right now?
I think it's going to even more as time goes on. Like if there ever is a partner, like where I have to do like a licensing or something like that, that I think is going to be even more. Because right now, the only people I'm really getting that sales aspect to would probably be selling myself to like a supplier, which it does obviously help. I think, being able to negotiate certain terms, which I literally like, I'll be like, hey, Mr. Customer, would you like to buy this product at net 150 terms? Like being able to come in with like that basic information immediately, I'm sure like they know regular normal sellers are coming in every day. At least I jump past like the intermediate or the beginner. I'm at least in the intermediate.
Yeah,
but it's a good question because I always think that, and somebody who I was talking to recently said the same thing. They're like, you're really good at sales, but you don't do sales for like this Amazon thing. And I was like, yeah, but like one, you're always selling yourself, everything, even this, talking to people and getting online or whatever it is. But two, it's like, I really like doing sales, but I also really like doing this, which I don't really think I could do this as my career because right now I'm just starting it myself. I'm just doing it myself.
Sure.
Product development specifically. But eventually that, along with selling myself, selling the brand, selling the idea, I think that's going to be a really good connection.
Yeah. We were talking at dinner last night about this like concept of people who are kind of in the kitchen cooking, who come up with all these different types of business strategies at a young age. I remember being 25 myself, and at 25, I had just gotten out of college. It took me about 7 years to get through my undergrad, and I wasn't thinking about business at all. I was fresh in the Army, and I was thinking about how do I become like the best lieutenant I can be, lead my platoon, hopefully go deploy somewhere. Spoiler alert, never went anywhere. I just hung out in Kentucky and Colorado and a little bit of time in Atlanta. Atlanta was the only war zone I ever went to. Oh. You can think about it that way. So, but that's what was on my mind. Whereas I see someone like you and so many other people I interact with on Twitter who you're in the kitchen cooking on some of these ideas that are ways for you to start a business, grow. Now, some of them might be scammy with SMMA, Shopify drop shipping. Like, those aren't avenues that I would say, hey, go after that today. But you were leaning into that. Here's my question. Where were you hearing about this stuff and why was it enticing to you?
I was thinking about this today. Yeah, so I think the first time I heard about e-commerce was like Instagram ads or whatever it is. And like, again, everybody always sees these ads, but I went a little bit further and was trying to find people that are successful at it. And then I would follow these people, and I'm a big advocate, not against social media, but like having like filtered social media. Like I'm not just watching bull, all day basically. I'm trying to watch stuff that's also going to help me. Your content, for example, like you obviously had all this great information and you're trying to share it. Like if I can read that for 4 hours a day, great. But I think that's what I started seeing on my timeline. And I started being like, oh, this guy does social media marketing. This guy does, I don't know, even like online sales, e-commerce sales, whatever it is. that just kind of like started like hitting my brain. And I was like slowly rewiring my brain to think like, oh, there isn't just like a 9-to-5 option. Oh, there isn't just like be a trade guy. Like you can run a business online, be successful, and you can do it at an early age enough that like you are done, or at least like way ahead of other people at 25, 30 years old. So, and honestly, in my brain, I was just thinking about this too, is the first success I had was, so I was doing Amazon wholesale. So my story is drop shipping from Shopify. Then I went to social media marketing, and then I went to wholesale Amazon. I saw a lot of people doing well. I made some good connections. So long story short, made some money there. And the funniest part is the one that like really hit for me was my buddy was selling Cutco knives.
Okay.
You know Cutco knives?
Like the
pyramid scheme knife.
Yes. Okay.
So funny enough, I was like, all right, man, like how much do you sell a month? He's like, I don't know, I sell probably like $20,000 of them a month. I'm like, really? I'm like, any chance they sell on Amazon? So I'll get on, Jungle Scout, whatever I was using, and see all the numbers. And I'm like, dude, these cook. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they sell like $150,000 a month. I'm like, give me a $10,000 order. He's like, what? I'm like, just give me a $10,000 order. I go, you have any discounts if I buy over a certain amount? He's like, yeah, if you buy like $20,000, I give you like 20% discount. I was like,
yeah.
So I bought it. They also had like a layaway thing, so you didn't have to pay for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm literally just taking from them. So long story short, buy these $20,000 worth of product within like 2 weeks, sold out. I'll never forget, I'm sitting in like my economics class and I'm just doing this, swiping on my store, and I'm like,
how old are you right
sure
here,
I bought
right?
some from him.
Did you?
The Cutco knives?
I was 20.
All right, so you're like a junior in college.
I'm like a junior in
Your
college.
economics class.
Sitting
and
in
you
there,
are sitting there
thinking
selling
to myself,
Cutco knives.
I just made $800 in that class, just sitting there being like, and that's when like, I didn't really like, again, that was also like a crazy thing where I was getting crazy pricing and all that stuff, but like, that's not normal, but it switched something in me where I was like, you can do this and do it quickly and do it well enough. And if you take enough time, which is like, I've done this for now 2 or 3 years. I don't have a blow up yet. It's not like I'm at that point yet, but if you do it enough, you're going to learn, you're going to succeed, you're going to fail, and you're going to get to that point where at the end you're like, I've already tried that, don't do it. Oh, I know that's going to work. Oh, I know this is going to work too because I saw this that one time. Like, you're going to get to that journey at the end where you're now yourself. Like you said, you don't even think about it anymore. You have a team helping you, but you also know exactly like through all your experiences, like, oh, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
It's like, what those KPIs are because like you've done all this stuff, you've seen what didn't work.
Yeah.
And now you know what to do that actually works.
Sure.
But I think it's important to point out that so many of the entrepreneurs that I talk to, whether they found great success or not, they all have a moment where their mind gets a little bit fucked on like, oh,
yep,
I just made $800 sitting here in class. How long would it take me to make $800 in the job I get in economics that I get after school instead? And you start to think through, wait, there's other ways to do this a whole lot better.
I didn't have a job at that point, obviously. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, am I an idiot? Am I gonna do this? And like, I could literally like at that point make $800 a day, do the math. And I'm like, why am I gonna sit here and I was a marketing major.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert for me, I didn't become a marketing major or a marketing.
You will use that in this though, guaranteed.
So
you will use
the
that.
idea is I think everybody should just try. Like, I had so many guys in school, some making fun of you, some being like, that's awesome. I was like, dude, try it. Like, not even my thing. Try something.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Fuck it up. Excuse my language. But like,
see, that's the key right there. Is
try
being
it.
willing to try. Like, we were talking about this because you've got a daughter who's 18, a son who's 19, and like you're thinking about some of these ways to motivate them towards what they're asking for. 18-year-old wants to be an entrepreneur one day, and you hear what he's talking about.
She's watching this podcast.
Yeah,
she's watching.
there we go.
Yeah, but like, what comes to mind for you that like you'd want to know as your 18-year-old daughter, listening to him talk through like, hey, just try, fail, figure it out, and then find out what works.
I don't know. I feel like you're giving out good advice right here. Like, you have to try multiple different things.
Just like,
some of it you're going to blow your mind with selling some random knives. And sometimes you're going to get those businesses like we were talking last night that you're like, well, that was a waste of my time and money.
like my first product broke even. But guess what? All the information I got, all the suppliers, all the connections, even just like whatever I did connected me to you, connected me to this. Like all these things are some way going to get me to where I want to go. And it really just comes down to not giving up and just being momentous, if you will. Have momentum, keep going. And if you stop, it's like coming back down. You just keep going and get to that point. But
what is it about Twitter, X? I'm only been on X since January 1st of this year.
You're fresh.
So I'm thinking to myself, man, if I had this opportunity and I had known that this is where the action was taking place when I was in my early 20s, I wonder what the impact would be over me being 35 today and where I'm at and having that knowledge at a younger age. Because
that network.
Yeah, like it is. How long have you been on Twitter for?
Now, I mean, like, I call it, you have money Twitter. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I try not to call it money Twitter. It's like obviously a joke, but that type of Twitter, about like 2.5 years, Bowtied Bull, you ever heard of them?
No, I don't. No, I haven't.
It was one of my buddies. He was like, you should look at them. They're really good finance option advice. And I was like, okay, so I'll take a look. So that was my first like positive social media to ever like take in. I'm like, all right, I'm watching like dumb videos. Now I'm finally actually learning something.
And this is just 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
So you are post-college at this point, still in college?
Maybe 3.5 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. What am I at now? Yeah, so actually more like 3.5
So you're still
ago.
in college, but the first couple years of college, you're consuming normal social media content that everybody takes down.
Yeah.
Like mind is just turning to mush.
Barstool or whatever.
I want to talk more about like getting into the money Twitter, but what was it that motivated you or that opened your eyes to like, oh, I should look at some of this other content there too? Was it just that it came across your feed and you were like, oh, that's interesting?
I think I was
Sparks an interest.
I think it was just, I was always interested in like younger people that have like figured it out and been successful. And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to get this if I don't research it. And like, I say like I research, but a lot of it just comes to you. I'm sure you've seen on like a Twitter feed or whatever it is, like something just pops up and then you dig into it. Yeah. Like I'm not one that goes out on like social media marketing. Like something comes in and then I dig into it. So I was like, well, I got to put myself in the right spot. And like, I think that really comes down to all young people. Like it just comes down to, or older, it doesn't matter, putting yourself in the right spot for let it hit you in the face. You know what I mean? Like that's going to give you the opportunity where you understand this is something I could see myself doing. Okay, great. You have to first get your feet wet, like you said.
Well, it's crazy to me that you can train the algorithm
That's what I was
for
just
what you
thinking.
want to see.
If you want your algorithm to be funny dance videos, it's sending you those videos.
Yep.
But if you want success, what social media platforms are you picking and what are you watching?
Good question.
Because look, everything I'm getting right now is skincare because we're launching the skincare brand that he's working on and I'm working on the social media for it. So all I've been doing is researching skincare. So everything, every spam email I get, everything I'm getting on every social media platform
You're
is
in
like,
the space.
Yeah, it knows that that's what I'm looking for, even though it doesn't know why. So if you want to be successful, all you have to do is spend 2 days looking at something, and that's what your algorithm is like.
Which is crazy.
My
Here's some
TikTok
videos
is
about
like
success.
kids' toys. Like,
Yeah.
if you saw my TikTok, you'd be like, what is this? Which I don't even use TikTok normally. I use it for that research. But I knew if I just looked up a couple like mommy toy videos, whatever it was, like I was like, it's going to hit my algorithm in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And now that's what it says. So I agree. I think it's like,
because I'm excited to hear how you got to.
Yeah.
it's interesting, right? Yeah.
I was picturing like when he told me about this, I was picturing like 35-year-old dad.
Nope.
So when we met you this morning, I was like, okay, I have more questions.
No, yeah.
It's yeah, I mean, we'll get into that in a second. But I think my final thing would just be for people my age, younger, whatever it is, like put yourself in the right area. Like it doesn't have to be social media. Like if you know somebody that does it, go work for them or go learn from them or talk to them or whatever it might be. Everyone says pick your brain, but and then try it.
Yeah.
And then fuck up.
Yeah.
And then lose some money. And then make some money. And then realize you can do both. And then
Let's
realize
talk about money real quick.
Yeah.
Because when the opportunity came to you to go get started with wholesale with Cutco, you already had $10,000, $20,000 available to go and burn on this and maybe lose it. Talk to me about that process.
Okay.
Where did that money come from?
Where
Where did you save that?
I've just always been a saver. You can ask my mom. I never bought anything. I'm like, I don't wear, this is the nicest thing I ever bought, and it's a watch. And
How much did that cost?
$3,000.
Okay.
So it's not
That's
anything.
expensive watch.
It's my first big boy watch, is what I say. But
I still wear an Apple Watch. I don't have a big boy watch.
I don't have an Apple Watch, but eventually I'm sure I'll get something like that. But I've been getting into, I'm into like 3, I always say now it's 4, but like 3 things I spend money on is like travel, cars, and experiences.
Yeah.
So like kind of travel, or excuse me, food. Sorry. Food for me is huge.
Food
but
while
now
traveling.
watches is about to be 4. So I'm trying to keep that down. But
a foodie, but he stays in shape. So.
Yeah, I tried.
He's a disciplined foodie.
But no, to answer your question, yeah, I had some money. I don't know how much I had. Yeah, something around that, maybe a little bit more. But I just did the numbers, and I was like, how kind of what you do? Worst case scenario, I break even, or I even made money at that point. Like we were selling the products for $172, and I was getting them for like $55.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's disgusting margins. It was like 45% margins, and hopefully Cutco doesn't come after me. But there was a thing that if you do not want the knives after 6 months, I can return them, no questions asked.
Wow.
So I knew to myself, I'm good.
I'm returning 200,000 knives.
No, it was insane. And we sold knives, we sold shears, like the really like powerful scissors. But yeah, so
where I get stuck on this is thinking through having that kind of money, because a lot of people, when I ask on Twitter in a poll, hey, what's holding you back from doing something more long-term on Amazon or anywhere else?
Sure.
Access to capital is always the number one.
Yeah.
And I always go in the spiel about, like, while you're watching TV, you could be driving DoorDash, you could be doing Uber Eats. Like, you have opportunities to make more money. Access to capital should never be the thing that holds you back. In this day and age, access to knowledge should never be the thing that holds you back.
YouTube.
But a lot of people allow those two things to hold them back. I read a poll last week. It was like 80% of the results of people that don't have a brand that want to build a brand are saying that either access to capital or access to knowledge is what's holding them back. I'm like, the gig economy and YouTube, how can either of those, so you don't actually want what you say you want, otherwise you would have it if that's what's holding you back. You want to hand it to you. You want someone to do it for you.
You said what, 15, 20 grand would probably what you'd say to launch a brand.
30K is my perfect number.
That's a good number. So let's just say this will probably take me around 15 or 20, and depends on obviously with ads and stuff like that too. But
and I include in that 30K the second reorder, which will be larger, and that's why I say 30.
Okay, that makes more sense.
People think about the first to get it started. Yes,
sure. Yeah. But in my eyes, you have that money. Like I've seen, again, it kind of goes back to my buddy. He bought a Rolex, right? He has $12,000 on the wrist. I'm like, it's inventory. So it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just prioritizing. Like to me, if I can hold off by buying a Rolex or doing this certain thing or buying a nicer car, whatever it is, and it could turn in 3 years to a business that could sell for $2, $3, $4 million bucks, or even continue to sell and continue to grow this brand into, $400,000, $500,000 a month, I would look at myself and be like, you're an idiot for not using that money. And when you're young, I think that's another thing. People always, even if they're young, they're like, oh, I got a lot of time. It's like, yeah, you do. But then take all the time now to be like the fuck up. So by 30, you're set.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I think I always talk about how saving is the prerequisite to business, because people think that the hard part about growing and scaling a business is, I don't have any knowledge about how to grow and scale a business. Like, no. The thing that always holds you back is capital. If you had more capital, you could go hire someone that knows how to do what you don't know how to do, and then you can scale your business that way. Capital is always what holds us back. So saving is the prerequisite to business growth for someone who's just getting started.
Yep.
That knowledge doesn't matter as much as you showing that you're able to actually take the money that you've earned and save some of it. I go back and think through being 14 years old. I remember my two brothers and I, we had, we called it RCCS services, but it was our lawn care business. Everyone has a little entrepreneurial story.
Yep.
We moved to a new neighborhood in Virginia, and we started a lawn care company, and we had 14 customers. And over the course of that summer, I think we were charging $20 per week to people to come cut their grass. And we all have terrible allergies, so we're out there suffering, but we had our uniforms on, the yellow shirts and the khaki shorts, and we'd walk around the neighborhood and we would get more and more customers. Stopped at 14, and I remember going back at the end of the summer and saying, man, we made $5,000 this summer cutting grass. Where's it at?
You spent it on.
We didn't have any of it left.
Yeah.
$5,000. And this is at 14 years old.
Yeah,
so we're talking about,
money.
This is 2003 when this is happening. $5,000 is a lot of money. If you're putting that to work to do something with it at 14 and you get compound interest on that inside of the business you're growing, whether you're doing a product or anything else, or we're reinvesting back in the business to grow it more. But we had no idea where it was, because I know where we spent it. 7-Eleven, McDonald's, like fast food, the dollar store.
Yeah.
And there was no semblance in our minds of, let's save this to build something. Now, we can blame our parents for not being great with money, and that's the reason that we weren't great with money.
Yeah.
But it's also, we just had a spending problem we either weren't taught to save or we just didn't want to save. We weren't thinking about the future and understanding that that could be seed capital for something huge in the future. And how many people are like that who aren't even thinking about saving? Because you were a saver. Was it because you wanted to save or because your parents taught you to save?
My mom made money her entire life and never showed it. Like, was no crazy cars, no crazy clothes, like skincare. She loves skincare. That's where she will spend. If she sees this, Mom, you spend $10,000 a year on skincare. I know you do. But like, she has great skin. But anyway,
we'll send her some.
That's what she's
hasn't aged a day since 30, right?
She looks great. But that's what, like, I think I always saw it was like, I was always into it. I'm like, Mom, like a Lamborghini one day. She's like, cool. I'm like, would you think that's cool? She's like, no. I would like, what if I got you a Rolex? She's like, I'd put it in my box. I wouldn't wear it. I'm like, so I don't know. She and my grandpa specifically, who ran his own business, was a printing company back in like 19, whatever it was, obviously like 1925, 35, whatever it was. But he was literally running this business. And I always thought, I was like, oh, he must have done it okay like that. And my mom's like, no, he was like a millionaire. But I never knew.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, so like you don't need to like show it. And he was the nicest guy ever. He was the hardest working guy ever. I don't know. I think it's just like nature versus nurture. Like my environment was like not surrounded by money. My parents did well, but they didn't show it. We didn't drive a Mercedes. We didn't drive a Benz or anything like that. It was just kind of like, we'd rather be free, never worry about bills, never worry about if we want to take a family vacation, than, you know, spend the money and then have to think, what's the rest of my income looking like?
Yeah. So you say most of it's nurture?
I think
for
so.
you, that you just grew up in that
environment. I think it just comes with like your environment. Like, again,
that's fascinating.
It might be where the opposite, where your parents are really bad with money and you realize that, and that also changes your mindset. And you're like, Dad's not great with saving money. I should probably be a little bit better. Yeah. And like, I guess one like example, I was thinking about this today, is like why I always was saving money is like, also my family when I was younger, we had kind of like a downturn, and like my dad was running his own business and things were a little bit tight. And I remember I was like one time saying to my sister, like, well, I want to get this new backpack. I want to get this new backpack so bad. And I heard my mom being like to my dad, like, we can't afford that right now. And that was it. My brain was like, don't ask for anything right now. Yeah. For like a long time. Yeah. And even when we were better, I was like, don't ask for anything. Get it yourself. Yeah. But don't ask for anything. So
it's so fascinating, man. Because I
it's weird, right?
There's a couple different types of people that I think can make it. There's those who have the foresight and knowledge to save, and whatever it is that happened in the childhood that got them to that point where they actually save. Yeah. I talked to my twin brother a lot about the second type of people, because that's more of like what he and I are. We are not good savers. We're big spenders. I'd say we both have a spending problem. But the thing that has distinguished us from the rest of the people who have spending problems is that our income has soared disparately compared to those who have not. And so if you have a spending problem, but you have a way to increase your income massively, then you don't really have a spending problem anymore.
If you can make more money better than saving more money, I think, like, again, if somebody says like, oh, I got a 2% raise at work, it's like, great, but like, I'm going to save all that, keep going. It's like, what if you could find another way to make $500 a week? Yeah. Selling stuff like Gary Vee does. Like, obviously there's different ways of doing it, but it's easier, I think, to make more money than it is to save more money. Because when you save, you have to change your whole life. Yeah. If you want to make a little bit more money, it might literally be you picking up a shift somewhere or whatever it might be. Obviously, selling something on Amazon. But I think I agree with you. You could spend money when you're actually making the money as well. Yeah.
You think in the gig economy today, like I've articulated DoorDash, Uber Eats, like there's hustle money out there to be made. For anyone who's saying $10,000 is keeping me from my goals, would you just call that person lazy?
No, I wouldn't call them lazy. I mean, it's a lot of money, like $10,000 to $30,000 if you want to run it. It's a lot of money. I'm very blessed that I have a job where I feel financially free enough that I can take some of my money and put it there and still not worry about all my day to day. Yeah. So I'm in a boat where I wouldn't say I'm like the average person where they're like, hey, this might go all my money. It might be all risk. I also obviously save some money in the beginning, but I don't think it's lazy. I think it's just changing your mindset. Like, again, $10,000, like you said, you spent $5,000 in a summer on pizza and chocolate and buying
Slurpees,
maybe
bro.
Whatever it
Slurpees.
might be. Whatever it might be. Like, I have definitely like cooked more at home. Like, I've definitely, held back on certain trips and vacations. Like, because I've thought to myself, like, I literally see my bank account and I'm like, That's 3 products, 4 products, 5 products. I'm like, that is where it could be. And if I do this right, that could be, like you said, I have a spending issue, but I have a spending issue on this. I don't have a spending issue on this or like this or on this. I have a spending issue with this, where I literally will spend $30,000 and be like, cool, good for me. I'm like, I really like spending that money because I know it can come back. Okay. If you have a spending issue on stuff that's never going to come back, like, could be a trip, which as much as I want to go on a trip, I know that money's just gone. Yeah. That money's just allocated to something that if it went up to zero. So I don't know where I was going with it, but basically I think it's not you're lazy. I think it's just your mindset. Yeah. What is going to be where your money is at?
Let me just push on that because the people that are saying it's 10K keeping me from where I want to be, whether it's a brand or anything else, if you find out that person's watching 2 hours of TV at nighttime, I think that would make them considerably lazy in this day and age, knowing what you could have been doing with that 2 hours of time, instead allowing the 10K to be a crutch of why you're not going for your dreams, instead of being real with yourself and saying, I need $10,000 to get started, but I'm not actually willing to do what it takes to get that $10,000. So I only have myself to blame. Is that fair?
It feels like fitness goals we were talking about. Like people who've got the fitness goals, but like, why aren't you taking a walk instead of watching the show? Why aren't you? It's similar with.
What did somebody say the other day? So if somebody says always, they're like, oh, like when I make $100,000 a year, I'll save $25,000 a year. It's like, how about when you make $25,000 a year, you save $3,000 a year? If you won't save money then, you're not going to save money after. It comes out to you learning how to do it early. Like when I was a kid, my mom told me, she was like, we're getting new floors. There's nails all over the floor. Like, we're going to have everybody pull them out. It's going to take like $500. Like, I'll do it for $350. So I literally got on the floor. I remember it was like 7 a.m. I was like, I need to be done by 7 p.m. So I just popped them all out. And by the end, she gave me $350 in cash and I put it in my wallet. I had like $3,000 at like 9. I'm like, all right, you know what? I got some money. I'm not touching it. But I think I was saving up for a car. And then eventually I thought to myself, why would I do that? Yeah. But I think that's what the mindset is. It's just like, save your money when you have it. Like, find out your expenses. I was very bad at that. Okay. I was very bad at knowing my expenses. I've always like, oh, I have money, but like I didn't know it to a dollar. Yeah. Now I know it to a dollar. If I spend, $200 on a dinner, I'm like, nope, that's the $2,000 minus that $200. Okay, I have $1,800 this month to spend on fun, if you will. If you know that, like, you also just feel like stress relief. Like everything I do, if I had to give young guys any advice, I was talking to this guy yesterday at work. He's like, how do you save money? You seem like you're pretty good with money. I'm like, I know how much is coming out of my bank account every month to stocks, to my 401k, to this, to that, to this, to that. So everything in my checking account, if it went away to zero tomorrow, I'd be fine. Yeah. So I think it's just kind of compartmentalizing all that type of stuff and knowing where your money's going, if that kind of answers your question.
It does, but also I think you positioned yourself in a pay-for-performance role, which is markedly different than someone who gets out of college, takes a job for fill-in-the-blank tens of thousands of dollars, and that's what they make. Like, you get to hustle more to make more, and there's seemingly no cap to that.
Well, that's why my job, as I always say, is like, it is entrepreneurial forward. Like, I have my own territory, aka my own company. Today, I'll go on, let's say, or tomorrow, whatever it might be, if I go on 3 or 4 calls, like my boss will not call on me and ask me what I did that day. He'll see at the end of the quarter how I did. And if he has any issues, he'll let me know. So far, so good. So I think that on top of like literally running my own territory, my own businesses in the beginning of my life, has now translated to sales, has translated to this. And like, even when I was doing my interview for this company, like the COO, he comes on and like, I'm pretty good at talking to people, but like, he's like, what differentiates you? Like, I don't know. Take a look at my resume. What do you think? Anything look interesting to you? And I had on it was called The Warehouse. That was my Amazon store. And he's like, what is this? And I was like, that's right. Share my screen. And I just bought, Goalie vitamins.
I know that name, but
they're apple cider vinegar vitamins.
Ew.
Okay.
Anyway.
Are they gummies or?
Yeah, they're gummies. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So that's where they like.
Sound terrible.
They're terrible. They really are, but they sell like hotcakes. So anyway, long story short, I had just bought like $12,000 worth of Goalie. He's like, what is this? Because I pulled up my P&L sheet and he's like, what are these numbers? I was like, let me show you. And I went on like Amazon. I pulled up Jungle Scout. I showed him like how many sales are projected for the month and how many sales I'm projected this quarter or whatever it is and like that. And like at the end of that, he was just like, okay. And then like a week later, I got the job. And I was like,
Yeah.
I think that we talked about bullshit, basically, that whole conversation. What are your goals with this company? What are this? But when he saw that, he's like, he can run something without anybody delegating him.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
So if I give anybody also advice, get into sales or some type of sale, whatever it might be. Some kid just asked me the same thing. And then if you hate it, you hate it. But like you will learn so many things there that could then be brought to here or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
That's so true. I think being an entrepreneur, you are a salesman. Any CEO, you're a salesman. Any executive in a company, you're a salesman.
Yeah.
People don't think about it that way, though. It's such a vital skill set to have. I only ever had one real job in my life, and it was sales. I lasted for 6 months where I realized I can't work
What were you
for
selling?
anybody. I was selling recruiting services for a military staffing firm.
Okay.
I'd just come out of the military myself, and I'd gone through this program where they help you find a job that takes the skill sets you had in the military and applies it to the real world. I'm coming out, I got an engineering degree, a PMP certification, my EIT, so I'm an engineer in training. I'm about to go get my PE certification.
Sure.
And I go sit down at this conference that they made for us in San Diego, and all these employers come in because they know like there's military officers getting out, there's technicians from the Navy who are coming getting out.
Sure.
I sit down in these briefs, and I'm like, none of this stuff sounds even remotely interesting to me. Operations manager, like normal engineering jobs, which to me is like yawn. Like I'm not interested in that whatsoever at all.
Yeah.
So I went over to the guy who ran the event and said, hey, are you hiring for sales guys? This thing is cool. I'd like to be a part of this, but I want to be in sales. I don't want to be in operations. And a week later, I had that job. And so I did that for 6 months, but I also realized I didn't have it in me to work for someone who was going to look over my shoulder. And your boss sounds a lot different than that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, go out and kill and make it happen. Mine was go out and kill when you're in the field, but when you're in the office, I need you here at a certain time. I want to see you here. And here's my favorite one. I want you to spend 2 hours of your 8-hour workday explaining to me how you're going to meet your quota. Yeah. Don't sell. Tell me how you're going to sell for a quarter of the time you're in there. And then we're going to throw some other bullshit meetings on top of your calendar too, and do a morning sync and an afternoon sync and do some training time in the afternoon. I'm like, well, when do I sell?
It's just busy work.
Right?
And I think that's another thing, honestly. I think our generation, my generation, a big thing that people have been like, oh yeah, I did this weekend. You know, I did all this research, whatever it is. It's like a lot of the stuff is just bullshit, busy work. And it's like, I am such a person that does that as well sometimes. Like I'll be like, oh, I killed it this weekend. Like looking at Amazon products, thinking like one's going to pop out to me. It's like, I really wasted like 3 hours of my time, and it's better than doing nothing. But I think that's another thing is like finding out what are your, somebody just told me this, inputs and outputs every day.
Yeah.
If you have like 3 inputs that I know, and I was going to ask you this actually, is like, what 3 inputs every day or 4 inputs, whatever it might be, do you do to become a better Amazon seller or a better business owner?
I think understanding what your KPIs are. Everyone who's in sales is that those key performance indicators for any business. You get bought by private equity,
Sure.
They're going to establish what the KPIs are. What are the actions that we can take that we know result in revenue? And maybe it's not revenue today, but it's down the road. But if we can take track now and measure how much are we doing of this KPI and this KPI and this KPI, we know if we do those enough that we're going to get where we want to go.
Sure.
Well, that's where all these quotas come from. Like the 50 phone calls that the private equity company now thinks, if I get people making phone calls, the phone call turns into revenue down the road.
Yeah.
But it's really all bullshit
No,
because
all
the
quality
salespeople
over
aren't a
quantity.
part of that. They're not saying, oh, if I make 50 random cold calls, I'm going to get a sale.
Yeah.
So they're talking to managers who are developing KPIs who haven't sold anything in 20 years, but they're managing a team of people that actually sell stuff today. And those managers come up with these KPIs that are not relevant to today. Go back to my case, 2019. The thing that got me the most business was sending out LinkedIn messages to people before everyone else was like connection message. I was doing that in 2019. And it was a very effective model of getting a conversation started with people because you could go through Sales Navigator, find the people that fit into my buyer profile, operations manager or hiring manager, connect with them, and then send a message and saying, hey, here's what I do, and if I could do this, would you be interested in having a call?
Yeah.
Talking about military. It's such a stupid script, but it worked so well back when nobody was doing
Scripts
it.
work.
Right?
Scripts sometimes
It was
work.
phenomenal. But that was my personal KPI where, yes, I had to make 50 cold calls a day, and I had to send out a certain number of emails a day, which were going to everyone's spam
that job.
messages. But that's what the private equity firm made me do. My own personal KPI was I'm going to send 150 LinkedIn messages per day and connection requests with people. And then I ended up outsourcing that to a little team in India that was doing it all for me overnight. So when I would come into work in the morning, smart. I had 3, on good days, I'd have 5. But on most days, I would have 3 people who had responded to that cold outreach. And now I'm talking to interested people. You take a sales guy who's used to 50 cold calls where nobody wants to talk to you and put them in an environment where you have 3 to 5 conversations a day with people who are already interested in what you sell. That's a game changer. That pipeline over years, if I had done that for years, I'd be killing it in that game. I'd have to change my tactics up now because that does not work anymore.
Yeah.
But understanding what your own personal KPIs are of what actually drives revenue and what you believe actually drives revenue, not what someone tells you is going to drive revenue for your own personal business. I think Amazon is its own beast. Direct to consumer is its own beast and figuring what those KPIs are. But the simple ones that everyone should be thinking about who wants to be successful in e-commerce today is like content better be one of your KPIs.
Okay.
Because if you're not making content right now, we are in this on this precipice where we're about to be in an environment that Amazon is partnering with TikTok, Amazon's partnered with Meta. We talked about it back in November of last year when they made the announcement.
Yeah.
It's been hush hush ever since. Well, when that actually launches, anyone who's not working on that today will be left behind by those who are actively working on it and getting really good at it today. If content's not one of your KPIs, it better be on the list to get started on that tomorrow to learn. Okay. What's a video that captures attention and how do we keep the attention once we've captured it? Mm-hmm. Learning for your specific product, how to capture attention, the target avatar you're going after, and being surgical about what are the things I can do to hook that person in.
Sure.
That's so important to know. And brands that wait until after the partnership launches and the videos are already out there and other people are successful with it will just be behind and be coming in as it gets more and more saturated. There'll still be opportunity, but the early movers will win big time. I can give you KPIs for days.
No.
Content is definitely one of them. I want to talk about your product.
Okay.
I want to talk about where this came from. I know more of your story than Jacqui does. So I want you to kind of
every time
pull
I was
this story
ask a question, he's like, wait,
you know?
it's for the podcast.
Wait for the pod, wait for the pod. We can talk about it over on the
fair.
pod. So you're coming in with less than me. I'll prompt it, but I want you to kind of take the questions over from there to make sure you fully understand. And that way our audience fully understands and has all the context. Yeah. But dude, Fizzosaurus, where the hell does this come from? Give me the backstory.
My crazy brain. No, it basically came from, I'm sure, I don't know if you ever did this, but I would start products and almost get all the way down the line and be like, this is about to launch. They're like, numbers don't make sense. Or, it's not really as much demand as I wanted. So I one day was just upset about Amazon searching, being on Amazon doing that research, which I was like, let's think out of the box. So I remember going on this one website, I don't know, unusualproducts.com, let's just call it. And it's one of those companies that basically would say, here are these different products that you could sell for a birthday party or for a Christmas party, whatever it might be. And I was just swiping through and I was like, what's going to catch my eye? Because that's literally what I'm thinking to myself is I want something that I see it and I'm like, what is it? It looks kind of cool. So I saw this one product that was, I don't think it even had a name. It was basically a castle, piece of plastic that you put a bath bomb in the bottom. And then when you put it underwater, it fizzes out the top like a stream of, whatever, fizz. I was like, cool, but how can that be cooler? One, when I bought it, I brought it to my house. I was like, it's really not safe. If a kid gets hit in the head with this, it's a chunk of plastic.
A kid will get hit in the head with it.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, so I got to make it softer. I got to make it cuter. I got to make it more able to be, let's say, palmed by a kid. So the idea, I was like, this is a really cool idea. The fizz sucked on it. It was not cool. It was 10 seconds. Mine's 4 to 5 minutes. So the idea, it can go long. So the idea is I was like, great idea. Everybody is reading all the comments, which if you're going to give me anything, you got to just read the comments. What are people saying? And it was literally good idea, bad execution. And I was like, that's perfect.
I got this one.
I'm like, that's perfect. That's all I want. So long story short, iteration after iteration. It probably took about an entire year because this was my first custom product. So I went through CAD files, I went through designers, I went through engineers, and it went from a piece of plastic to, a piece of whatever it was, polyurethane plastic to now silicon, like an actual FDA approved safe silicon. But it just was like different iteration after iteration, but it all started with that one product. I was like, it sucks, but it has really good potential. Yeah. So I was going to bring it today, but honestly, I don't have it anymore. I think I threw it out. But,
but I want to open it then.
Oh, okay,
like,
cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So I think we're good to go.
Yeah, give us the experience here.
So pull it out just as you would.
Oh, they are soft.
We got to show this to the camera so they can see what's inside. This presentation here.
That's great.
Walk me through. So we have
12 bath bombs. I can give you all the flavors, but you have like ocean breeze, you have like mango grape, you have green apple. And the idea obviously is to be very, very, scent conscious, but also not being overpowering. So all the actual ingredients are, you have olive oil, you have argan oil, then you have like baking soda just for the actual fizzing effect.
It smells so good.
And the cool thing about these is that they were designed to, if you can't tell, look like a dinosaur egg.
And they do.
And they do. They have some pretty good design on it.
Okay,
great.
so you've got two dinosaurs here.
Yes. Trevor
comes with. All right, so which one's Trevor?
Trevor's the blue.
Trevor's the blue.
And Trixie's the red.
Trixie's the red.
So this is something you actually put on is two things. One, you were like, you got to create more value, let's say, to the product. Like, what if they have two kids? Or what if the kid doesn't like blue or doesn't like red? So I ended up putting two products in here, Trevor and Trixie. And then to your point, I gave them their own personality. So you have Trixie's the red, blue is the Trevor, but it's like to have that more like emotional attachment to the product. So the idea is it went from, again, this big castle that literally you'd have to like unscrew it. It was like plastic. It just didn't feel like soft and cute. Now I can, it's safe. It's fun. You can squeeze it.
I could throw this at my 2-year-old.
Exactly. So the idea is it actually floats in the water.
Don't.
The idea is that, and I think you also brought this up too, is like it can be a toy that you don't even have to use in the bathtub, or it doesn't even have to be used with our product of the bath bomb itself. Yeah. And the one thing I'll say too is this is a specific proprietary like formula that I've tested and tried true, so it will fizz. Normal bath bombs will just kind of like leak out. Yeah. This one actually has a certain amount of fizz that it will come out almost like a volcano.
And you said you've got like down to the minute, you know how long this thing's gonna fizz inside of it. So let me just paint a picture here, right?
So dropping dinosaurs.
For my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old, they do a bath together every single night.
Sure.
So we hop them in the tub, and they get to pick Trevor or Trixie.
Sure.
Although they're probably both going to want Trixie or want Trevor.
They can switch. I
already have to buy 2 packs from you as it is because my kids are going to want the exact same one.
Exactly.
But then they get to have the experience of pulling out which egg do they want. Now, they don't know. They can smell them. They can smell flavors.
They don't know what's inside.
They're going to go off of color. They're going to choose what color they want every single night when they put it in. Now, walk me through. Once they picked out their egg.
Yep.
It just goes right inside here.
So if you actually take apart the toy, it comes almost like my idea here was, again, it used to be like, open it up like, and then it would just be one big piece and then just the cap. And I was like, that's not really like cute or safe or even fun.
Yeah.
So instead, think about like a Russian doll. So it actually comes like this.
Oh, okay.
And then you can pull it off. And then if you were to take an actual bath bomb, it'll fit really nice and snug. So you just leave it right over. If you push it all the way down, it will actually lock on. And now you have a bath bomb inside the toy and you don't even know.
No, but now you have to get to the cool part where what happens once the fizz.
Once the fizz happens, it's really great. So the bath bomb goes away and we call it a bath bomb surprise dinosaur egg, whatever you want to call it. Inside the actual toy, after this dissipates, will be another little dinosaur toy. So the idea too is that the kid gets to play. Yes, Trevor has a baby, exactly. So every one of these has its own dinosaur. They could be, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It could be a Stegosaurus, whatever it might be. But the idea is that the kid can then collect those toys. And the fun part that I actually kind of just came to me is like you can then take the actual toy, and then you can actually store them inside here. So when you want to, let's say you have a bunch of toys, you can store them in here. So when you go to do bath time, all the toys are already here. So it's your carrying case as well.
Fantastic.
Kind of worked out.
That's a mom win. Good
right?
job.
That's a mom win.
That's a mom win.
I mean, you get the 5 minutes of entertainment of if I pick Trevor, I'll be my 2-year-old, and I say, okay, I want it to come out pink. So I put it in here. I put Trevor into the water. We get the fizz from the bath bomb coming out of 5 different holes.
And the bottom.
Got some at the bottom too, so it's coming out everywhere, but it's long lasting. This is a big It's a large egg.
Yeah.
It's the size of a full-on bath bomb.
It's a full bath bomb.
Into an adult bath.
I was thinking about it a little smaller. It worked out that it actually fit in there really nicely, and it added that extra fizz, but also that extra time.
Yeah, phenomenal. 5 minutes of entertainment, and then there's this great reveal at the end because you don't know what's inside of this.
Yeah.
If you're the kid, there's different characters that are in here. You get to open up Trevor at the end and figure out, okay, now what is the toy I get to have? My kids will eat this up.
And the water is obviously all changed as well.
The water will change.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a phenomenal idea. I'll tell you what I love about this too. You would think that with the soft design that's here, you have to solve multiple problems. Yes, you want it to be soft so I can throw this at you, it doesn't hurt you, but also it's not difficult to put it back together. I would think that with the soft design, it would be almost too flimsy to get this piece back in, but you don't have that problem. It goes back in.
And once it's on, like, look,
and it
kid can squeeze it
too. Yeah. Really, really well done in the design.
Yeah.
How many iterations did you have to go through?
That's a fun one.
For eggs and for Trevor and Trixie.
I think the hardest part was honestly the eggs, just getting the formula. Because that's like one thing. I don't want them to buy these and then they don't do anything. So this, I started with, again, like it was a lot bigger and it was plastic. It was adorable. I'll show you a picture of it. But it went really well. But the idea was that it's not cute. I didn't get that cute. I didn't get that soft. And basically, I did my mom test. I gave it to my mom. She's like, yeah, it's cute. And I was like, then I showed her this. She's like, I love that. So the idea is, I think I had 3 or 4 iterations. And honestly, what it came down to, if I give anybody advice, is like, find what is already made. You don't need to start from scratch. So for example, I found, if you've ever seen them online, like they use these same exact kind of toys to like clean kids' hair, and like they can use it as a toy in the water, and like the holes on the bottom will be like used to actually, wash them. Only thing that we changed is there was an elephant that looked very similar to it, and I added the dinosaur head, the tail, and then I added my holes on top. So the idea is like, don't reinvent the wheel if it's already there. Mm-hmm. So this is all the same, size is a little bit different, but all I did was I took a design that was already there and made it my own. And honestly, I repurposed it as well. No one was using it for this.
Yeah. Dude, it's so genius.
I feel like it comes with so many like future business opportunities.
That's
like,
why
those little kid bath books that are about Trevor and Trixie. You throw a story into ChatGPT and you've got 6 books.
Yep.
Last night we were talking about how exciting this is, and she brought up like the little kid towels with the like dinosaur head, and there's so far you can go with just dinosaurs, and I have boys and girls both like dinosaurs. Everybody likes a dinosaur.
Yep. That was my question in the beginning, is like, what should I do that can get both kids? And like, I remember
little
like
kids like
everybody loves dinosaurs, and they're adorable. I know. That's why I went with Trixie too. I'm like, all right, the girls can like Trixie too. But
Mom's stealing a bath bomb.
No, you can have the whole thing. That's all yours.
Well, no, I mean like, thanks. Oh. But I meant like, I could see moms being like, and I'm taking a bath and using a dinosaur.
It's also, again, like what I really wanted to focus on is like, to be honest with you, a lot of it's just Chinese crap. Like I go through like the, swiping, and you see on Jungle Scout, like, is it American or is it Chinese? All of them are Chinese. So what my goal was is like, there's one brand that does it really well and they're more expensive. So I'm like, and they do well. So I'm like, if I can give you higher quality and more of a value add where it's not just the same thing, dropping it in, you should be able to say, okay, I can charge a little bit more. And that's what me and you kept going back and forth on. Instead of selling the thing for $14.99, trying to sell it for $29.99 or $24.99. So how can I add value? How can I differentiate? And also, how can I get a visual wow factor? Like the visuals that I'll show you, I'm sure, and the ones you're probably going to show me today.
That's right.
It's like, that's what I want them to do, is the same thing I did when I was looking on that website, is swipe, swipe, swipe. What is that? And then look into it, see a picture, see a video, see a review. And then that's where it comes into like, okay, we got them.
Yeah. And we're having a conversation tomorrow for the next episode with who I would call the CTR, click-through rate, greatest of all time, John Aspinall. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to get some insights from that too that I think you'll enjoy listening to that episode, just to hear what he has to say about that hero image and getting someone to come through. I remember going back to our first conversation, and so I have to remind myself, because I've had so many of these like introductory calls with so many people who have these like great ideas. Yours always stuck out in my mind because a couple things that stood out to me. You weren't just talking about a product, number one. The very first time I talked to you, Mike was talking about a bath experience. Bath experience. I mean, most people are like, hey, I'm launching a product. I got a bath toy.
Yeah.
So no, this is about building a company that's going to be a bath experience.
The emotional attachment.
Yeah.
I get the whole point is even like my slides, they're not like better color and better this. It's like, no, stress-free bath time routine.
Yeah.
Like, that is what the parents are going to buy. It's not a kid on Amazon being like, oh, blue. No, it's the mom or dad.
This is the benefit of you being a sales guy, because you understand more than a lot of people who get involved in trying to sell a product. You understand who it is that you're selling to. Yes, you can sell to the kids and make content for the kids, and that's great. And I think you should do that on YouTube. Get the kids to want it. It's the Cartoon Network commercial theory. Tell your parents what you want.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what you're selling on the emotional side is not just the bath experience for the kids and the fun they're going to have, but you're selling the bath experience to me as the dad. Although, full disclosure, I don't do bath time. My wife does every night, so she's handling that. You're selling my wife the experience of, hey, the girls aren't like hitting each other in the bathtub. They're just sitting there playing with their toy, having a great time, enjoying.
Absolutely.
Like, I wonder what toy you're going to get. I wonder, oh, look, I have blue, I have purple, I have red. Like, she now gets to kind of hang out and just chill while the kids are in the bath.
Because that's what I was
seeing. The bath
seeing.
experience for the mom or the dad, if they're a better dad than me.
And when you're gift giving, you want to give like the experience too. And so when I'm thinking about like those little kids in my life and Christmas coming, it's like, what can I give them that's cool?
But the parents are going to be really excited about too, because that's, again,
exactly.
you nailed it right on the head. Like,
this is the perfect gift for that.
Yeah.
Because most of the gifts that my kids get at Christmas time, I look at the grandparents and I'm kind of, that's not going to my house. Like we don't do loud toys like that. That's
like
not
drum
good.
Set. Yeah.
I'm so glad you got them that toy for your house.
I would be excited.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make a commercial for you or anything.
No,
I love this product, and I love the sense you
excited by it.
explained it to me in the first place. Like, I'm a buyer of this product because I know that my kids will love it, and it makes my life easier.
And that's who you're selling
Same
to.
time.
It's like, I guess it does come back to my sales idea. It's like, if I'm selling you, I don't know, a bottle of soda, it's like, I'm not going to be like, it's the best tasting. It's that. It's like, are you thirsty? Like, can I help you quench your thirst? Like, what could you use?
I watched a Coke ad yesterday where they were just talking about how crispy it is.
That's
and I was
crispy.
like, that's what we're going with, but it's the experience.
But that's, I mean, it's just selling to that parent is obviously the goal. And then again, what we kind of went through as well, when I first reached out to you is because I saw you with all these like reorders on pallets and reorders this. And I'm like, teach me how to get into the consumable game. And I didn't even realize, but I kind of was already getting into it.
Yeah.
So the
I
idea
remember that
is,
first
again,
conversation that we had about how do you do two things. I think I remember now, the moment you mentioned bath experience, I'm okay, this dude's in here for the long haul. He wants to build a brand. He's not just making a product. Okay, if you want to build a brand, there's two things that are like super, super important here. What's your AOV, that average order value?
Yeah.
I hope it's going to be high. I don't want you playing the $15 game. We talked about that. And the second thing was, how do we get to take our CAC, that customer acquisition cost, and apply that to a customer that comes back 20 times, 30 times? Get the customer one time for an ad and they come back to you over and over and over again. Every single product and brand could have a replenishable option that goes along with it. Like, I have yet to hear the category where I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't know how you're gonna get that person to come back and buy again from you. It's always a way, but people don't think through that. They just launch a product and then they realize I have to go acquire a customer every single time. They've never thought through, how do I get you to come back? And this product is so perfect. I don't know if it was based off of our conversation in the call, but what's so great about it to me is that you have the high AOV now of the sales price that can sustain you getting a PPC campaigns for people to actually see it, put it in front of them, top of search. But you also acquire a customer that says, okay, if I have 2 kids and 12 eggs, that gets me 6 baths. And my kids take a bath 5 to 7 times a week. I'm buying this weekly. Oh, I'm going to need that 40-pack refill of these, my friend.
See, like,
I was going to ask, like, when's the refills coming? Like,
so that's right when we see the data, like, even if like the first couple of days you start seeing 20, 30, whatever it might be, like,
mess.
I already have them on. They're ready to go.
Steve would like a pallet of eggs, please.
Okay.
I'm buying it by the pallet.
Yes.
But that was the question, is like, oh, we don't need to keep selling them the same toys. But I'm like, no, we don't really need to sell them the same toys. So what I can actually do is, 1, get the box a little bit smaller. 2, it doesn't even have to be as tall, because that's what the toy is, a little bit taller. So this will also get a little bit less expensive. And then also it just becomes like, where they have to use something like this. It has the formula in it designed for it.
And it fits the toy perfectly.
It fits really nice.
That's the last thing we talked about, was how do you make sure that people don't just go buy their own bath bomb and put it in here? It needs to be yours. But to your point, that bath bomb is not made for this optimized experience. You want 5 minutes of playtime for the kid? You better be buying the right eggs. And I'll tell you this.
Or have a toy inside.
Have a toy, and the toy that goes along with the animal that's in here too.
Exactly.
I think that what comes to mind for me is thinking about laundry pods or those new compressed detergent tablets that we sell in our hospitality business. You don't even need a box for the refills. You could just give me a bucket of these and I'm happy. You get your cost down a little bit lower by taking that from being so wide. Get yourself into a smaller category for Amazon with a little bucket, and you sell that bucket as a 20 pack, a 50 pack, and then for the overambitious parents out there, here's your 100 pack of eggs. I bet you that 100 pack gets sales.
Especially if you swap out the toys too. Like if they're not all dinosaurs and now we've got some new surprises, you might get.
Well, that's the next idea is that, again, dinosaurs
they could be inside a dinosaur egg and you get a smiley face.
Oh, you mean like
she already got 12 dinosaurs and now she gets a smiley. And
I like that.
Something new.
I like that.
I also think that when you start to introduce and really go wild with your marketing, having these limited edition surprises that the kids know, if you get the one that's covered in gold, like you can redeem that for X that fills in because you're covering. If you have more of a comprehensive strategy that is making content for the parents to sell, but also making content for the kids, like my kids are on YouTube. We talked about all those super annoying
kids
like
to open these. That's how my child knows what he wants in life.
Oh, really?
If a YouTube kid opens it and is like, and Trevor and Trixie, and they were talking and and all of a sudden my kid wants it.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've seen TikTok.
I've got like young kids that want to watch YouTube 24/7. The 5, I guess I keep saying 4 and 2. They're 5 and 3 now, but they have access to their own YouTube Kids and the things that we've allowed them to see. There's kid influencers. You know about kid influencers?
No,
okay,
it's a
this
thing,
is crazy.
and it started. So my youngest is 10, and when he was 2, there was kid influencer named Ryan who everything he opened, my kid wanted in life.
I know
now
Ryan.
He's a 16-year-old influencer, but now parents are like putting a camera in front of their kid every time their kid does something. So all these companies just send their kid a free thing. They open it. It costs you the whole $20 to send it to them. And now you've got this baby influencer selling your products on YouTube Kids.
Ryan's the GOAT too.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
Ryan.
No, he has his own TV show now. His own
huge.
stuffed animals.
You probably have to pay him $10,000 to feature it because his videos get tens of millions of views, and kids will rewatch it. And the parents are just kind of doing a vlog, but at Ryan's World, and he has 2 little sisters now who are still Emma and Kate. And they've got a whole show. I know all this because my daughters watch it nonstop. But they do entire shows now because it's kind of the family's income.
But my 10-year-old was watching it 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he's still,
he was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I think the parents were ahead of the curve. And I don't know if I should feel bad for him or not, but oh, you're
Ryan,
basically Justin Bieber, like you're gonna be in the spotlight.
Sorry, I a little bit hit you and you're a child,
But I think that the value in it is they've realized that because the kids are watching it, you get more bang for your buck giving them your product than if you did a commercial on Cartoon Network. Because the kids don't want to watch commercials either. No. They want to see the show they want to see. But on YouTube,
they're watching commercials. Like that's what every little kid video is on YouTube. Is kids opening toys and playing with those toys.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you see it as a kid and you want it the same way that I wanted big pocket jeans when I was a kid because I saw it on the Cartoon Network. I had to watch the commercials. But now you give this to someone like Ryan who's playing with it. The reason that my kids, and we've spent hundreds of dollars on slime, is because Ryan played with slime in one episode. You've probably seen it.
Oh my goodness.
And we've spent probably close to $1,000 on slime, the same brand that he's using because they want to use the same one that he has. Yeah. But something that's unique like this.
No, it's when they start making the slime in the videos, then you have to.
Oh, yeah. And I refuse to be involved in the actual slime making.
That's a lot.
My wife takes that on instead of me, thankfully. But I get excited about these products because I see the vision of this product alone getting you to $3, $4, $5 million in annual sales just by, you haven't launched anything else, just this product and the refills. Like that can get you there.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to be just Amazon. Strategy. Like I think you're right. Like it might sell through Amazon, but like you said, like I'm really interested in doing a TikTok where it'd be like the mom's thing is like you will not believe how easy it is to take a bath now. After a long day of work.
Go find yourself every pregnant influencer and send them a gift from your company. Like I heard you're having a baby. Here you go. And all of a sudden you've got people post in there.
I'll put you on some game
Yeah.
right now too. There is a viral marketing strategy that would cost you $0 to do. These moms groups on Facebook are like next level.
Really?
I think they're very culty. I think
Giving
that
each
they're
other
very
advice
like
that nobody should be having.
It's like, don't put yourself out there in a way that the mom mob will come for you. But if you were to sneak a product like this on from someone that you know who is a mom who's already in one of those groups, so it's authentic,
Sure.
and be like, have you guys seen this? My kids are now like enjoying time in the bath instead of me having to force them to get. They can't wait to get into the bath. The thing lasts for 5 minutes. They get a toy at the end, and it only cost me $30 on Amazon to get them. And there's all these. You get a post like that, the moms are going to see it, and that's going to be shared and shared and shared and shared and shared. The number of shares you would get from a post like that, and it would cost you $0. That's why I love your product so much, because it's already naturally viral. If you just saw a video of it working and a happy kid, you're like, wow, that's awesome. Then you get all these great mothers who are getting benefits from it, who are not trying to make a commercial for you.
Yeah.
They're just making user-generated content of like, this is helping me out. And look at the guy who's making that happen.
Yeah.
That's you. So you don't have to put all of it into a paid strategy for TikTok, although that would work. Paid strategy for Instagram, because they're on there too. But some of these Facebook groups is where all of the underground knowledge is being shared. My wife gets these ideas about like, oh, Trader Joe's just dropped a new product. My mom just told me about it. Like, I got to go to Trader Joe's and get it. Well, what's actually happening there? Like, that's free advertising from someone who had their life changed by a product because they ate it and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
But this could be the same thing.
It's a lot of word of mouth. Look, like somebody sees it and they're like, "Ooh, you gotta check out this new toy." Which I agree. That's a good point though. I didn't think of Facebook groups. That's
the moms are all over it. Okay, I want to make some time. We're gonna switch seats here because I want Jacqui to be able to walk you through your images, what you have. Maybe it makes sense for you to talk through your images that you made first.
Sure.
Anyone who's listening to this, you won't see these images. So basically, I'm telling you, go on to YouTube and watch this part. We're going to share the images on the screen as we go through it.
So obviously I was using the stock images just because some people probably know it's very expensive to use normal photography, but I want your opinion on them.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a reason to do normal photography. Stock images are so much easier. It's the way to go. So what I did is I sent your images, which were just screenshots from his phone, and like went through Jungle Scout, came up with some good keywords for you, and put that into ChatGPT. And was like, give me images about Trevor and Trixie. So we're really selling a story in the images. And so this is what your layout would be for just your A+ right now.
Sure.
And so my favorite version of A+, and full disclosure, like, we got this idea from a Jungle Scout person, but is to make it like a flow. So this is images, but they are like, when you see it on Amazon, it all just flows.
Oh my God.
And so,
it's a story.
Yes. Some of the feedback I would have is, yes, a mom being or like the bath thing, like, yes, they're a bath toy, but you can get flagged for certain things in Amazon that you never know. So there have been times that, the company that I work for, we sell amenities for bathrooms. So the chance to have a shower image is in every single one of our things. Yeah. And we'll get flagged randomly for nudity. And you're like, and so being careful and putting the kid, she's next to a bathtub, or you know what I mean? Sure. It just gives you that safety that you're not getting flagged by the bots because they randomly got bored. Matching your fonts a little better. These are definitely pulled from
100%.
Yeah, those were definitely like
What are your thoughts on these fonts? Sorry to interrupt you, but I even showed some of my friends, and they're like, it's a little, like, for example, on, where's the one? This one. I think these font could be changed.
Yes. So I had that exact image remade. So I had this remade to two different options.
Oh, that's legit.
My designers are fantastic.
Yeah, you're good. Do you guys do it in the U.S. or do you guys have other people?
No, so I design any briefs we do. I come up with the idea behind it, and then I have a team of 5 Filipino designers, and They're fantastic.
That works specifically with this company.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And so they do images for anything that we're doing, but yeah.
This is awesome. Oh, two
so
iterations.
I had
wow.
a more just like what you did and a very different from what you did
like
so that
this.
you could, yes, I loved what Deo did here.
I do like how you do like a story. Like a,
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then I feel like the holes needed to all be underwater because you say fully submerged and then it's not.
Great point. I like that picture a lot.
Yeah, just adding like the person's hands to it makes it like look easier.
I agree.
And then this one, it was just a little bit more
I do like that.
fun looking.
I kind of like this one better. I don't know what it is about it, but I like the flow of this one better. I like the pictures of this one a little better.
Yeah, it gives it kind of both options.
Yes.
And then the words, I just put exactly what you had, put it into ChatGPT and was like, make this cute, make it about a dinosaur.
That's all I do.
Add the word volcano to it. You know what I mean? Like
mini volcano on this. That's smart.
And it's just simple tools everybody's got.
Yeah, I think
doesn't take the rocket science.
To give anybody advice is ChatGPT is like
everything.
I mean, dude, like even like anything that I'm doing, if I'm writing an email to somebody, if I'm talking to a supplier or whatever, it's like make this sound more professional. Make this sound more, whatever it might be, and it literally kills it.
Okay, so I liked this image because the little kid wasn't specifically in a bathtub.
Exactly.
Gives you the bathtub feeling. I would say when you're doing them, things like that are going to be beneficial. Mm-hmm. And if you can see like this designer, every single one, we went with like a
bamboo.
Yeah, like a very
jungly.
On every single image,
like
they start with something like that. So that across the board, I would say one of the other things I noticed about your images is like this one's very dinosaur related, but then this one had nothing to do with it. So having a common font across all of them and having like a common theme across all of them so that they look like they were all done by the same person makes it look less stock.
I agree. No, it does because like obviously people are not going to have like legit photos like this, but this looks great, and I love that that's sitting there because that's like, oh, that's how it works.
Yes,
that's a great idea.
And so I liked this concept better if you're going with a bath. It is hard to make the water look bath bomb and not that's also bubble bath.
No, that was the whole
amount
point.
of times that I sent it back and I was like, do you know what a bath bomb is? Let me send you a video of what a bath bomb is.
I had to send them videos of me using the toy, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, this is a video of what a bath bomb does, because he just kept giving me pink bubble baths or like rainbow, and I was like, no, like it's only going to be one color. So it's easier to go out of the bath. I would say if you're pulling images, it's easier to look. She's super excited, so the image itself is great, but to give it.
And also, it's like they're so excited to take a bath. They're not even in the bath yet. This kid's in the bath. He's loving it.
And the only reason I went with this stock image over this one was like show that there's two of them.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So same concept. I would say your fonts. So we tried to match the Fizzosaurus font.
Ooh, that's smart.
So having anyone match your fonts, and I'll get you what they did for fonts and stuff like that.
Thank you so much.
So yeah.
What did you think of? Do I have the other photo here? This one, I wasn't loving this photo for myself, the one we had. But
so this was part of your A+.
Yes.
And so what we did there was just sort of take all of the extra bath kit photos out.
I see.
And so these words are in like the story that the A+ is telling. A+ can be a little bit wordier because they've already gone through your image. Yeah. If they're down to your A+, they're
keywords.
Definitely interested, and we just keyword stuff that.
I see. Now, are these all the actual text you would have there underneath the Fizzosaurus?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and you can obviously take words out. They have the same wording. My designers just put them in different places.
Copy and paste. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, that's awesome. It's amazing. I like this GIF photo too.
Yeah, and I think that some of the photos we did take from you, like this little kid gift
I like that photo.
I thought that they did a good job with the gifting.
Yeah,
pictures.
I agree with that. That was the one thing I was like, oh, that really does look like a good gift. No, these are awesome. Okay. What was your favorite photo that you guys made?
I mean, the A+ gets me excited every time we make A+, just because of that whole design of going through it. Okay, so this is your ingredients image.
that was one that it was hard to.
I like showing ingredients. So your ingredients image, you've got these little kids in the bath. You're saying what they are, but you don't have to show kids using them in every single image.
Sure.
And so that's something that with our amenities, I've really pushed with our designers, is people get it. It's shampoo. We don't have to show them using shampoo in every image to be able to get them excited. And so this style where, again, we matched the, So it's going across the board. The fonts are the same, but just showing what the main ingredients are. If there's more ingredients you want to show, you could put other ingredients down here. That'll keep you from Amazon flagging your images ever. They started doing that to us if we didn't list all of the ingredients somewhere. So in tiny little font down here, it says other ingredients and then just lists everything that
smart.
I wasn't like, I'm not going to show you what
ingredients,
B40 looks like.
I agree. It's a good point.
So
yeah, here's citric acid.
It's what it looks like.
These
so
are great.
just making it look.
This is, I think, my favorite right now because I think at the end of the day, not only does the parent want it to be like, fun and, happy and that, they want it to be safe and they want to be natural. And like, I literally had to go back and do iterations without certain ingredients in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, God forbid a kid gets like a rash.
You don't want to be the
like
person who got a kid sick.
Because then one review, done.
So this is your first image on your listing. And so like a kind of what we call them is what's in the box images. Every single time I do a listing, I give you what's in the box, no matter what we're selling.
100%.
Even if it's obvious, it's only bars of soap. People want to know what am I getting. And so just naming it that kind of gives people like, okay, that's what it's telling me.
I got it.
I liked that the dinosaurs were on it, but because they don't match Trevor and Trixie specifically, it almost feels off-brand, like it feels stolen from another place in the internet.
Yeah, just
so just taking dinosaurs out of it and just making it about like this is what you're getting.
Okay.
And then I did like this one where he used the numbers like from the other image and just made them bigger. Like you're getting 12.
Yeah, because it pops right in your face. I like that. And then obviously the names of the actual product. This looks ridiculously good.
And then the extra is just really
discovery is surprise dino toy in these bathroom safe fun.
Just making it
just
fun
a little bit more
without
same thing over here.
Simple concept.
Which one did you like better, this one or this one?
I didn't notice she put dinosaurs in the background, and that makes me happy.
That is cool. I didn't even notice that until you said that.
Yeah.
I like this. I think the bombs look better here. I don't know why.
And partly we didn't get your good images in time, so we could improve either of them if that's what was needed. But I think that I liked the simplicity of this, where this has a lot of extra wording.
I do like this. I like the color for some reason too. The blue is like calming, and it's kind of like a bath bomb. But I like that a lot. That is amazing. Oh, I see that one over there. That one gets me excited.
The hero image?
Hero.
It got done last minute, but what I had them do differently, just improving your images, giving them something, I put a splash of pink fizz behind it. And so just adding something to
it's
them.
Not just white.
Yeah. Okay. I almost think that you could add even the bow that's on some of your images.
I was thinking about doing that
making
around
it
this,
like a gift.
And somebody just thinks immediately.
Great. I can have that added while we're talking right now, if you want it on a hero image. Adding a bow or a tag off of it that says "great gift."
Yes. I think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Because
just
then people
adding
just
a little
think.
bit to your hero images. The hotel we were staying at was like printing them and handing them to me.
Like, what are you guys doing?
Fast. Yeah.
Imagine I was doing
that.
No,
the lady was like, "I would like to buy these. Where do I buy
really?
these?" Yes.
All right, send me your number.
Dude, everyone is saying the same thing.
Yeah, the lady who printed them for me
like,
was like, "What is this? I want to buy it."
You know how far your ads are going to go if that's the case right now?
I know.
Where the lady at the front desk of the hotel is like, I want this.
I know.
Like for my kids.
What did
Just
you do?
images alone. She didn't even get the pitch on like, what it
bring
was.
her a
And
box.
what
She
it
just
cost.
saw a
Like,
picture.
I want this. Like,
The funniest thing I was doing when I first was getting the designer, because by the way, if you ever need a cheap designer, go to Fiverr, go to whatever. Like obviously find the right one, or 99 Designs. If you ever used 99 Designs,
I've heard
you
of
ever
that.
used that?
No.
99 Designs is a cool thing they do. So you could either hire somebody directly if you've had experience with them, or, which is I think the coolest thing ever, is you can do a contest. What you do is you go, here's my brief, here's what I want, here's $1,000 or $500, go. You'll get 50 designs, and then you go, give me the top 5. And then you pick 5 of them, and then you can go through the ending iterations of them. Like, so it's like, okay, I like these 5, but now do this, now do that. So by the end of it, you get all these different options. And like, this was like the 6th design I saw, and I was like, done. This is great. But then they changed this or that. So you get more for your money, in my opinion, because if you just go with one designer, it's going to cost, maybe $1,000 because it's that one person, maybe more. But then you don't really have change or creativity. I didn't know what I wanted. I said, here's what I think. And again, kind of the same thing. I'm not a designer. I'm a product guy.
Sure.
So when they came to me and said, I understand your idea, here's my thought on it, it just, everything came together.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's a great way to do it. And I think sometimes we get to like our level of scale, the whole team is in-house where like, how do you make a design? Well, we have our designers make a design.
Exactly.
This is helpful for everyone else who's not selling 8 figures on Amazon. Like, how do you get started? That's a phenomenal way to start. I think Freelancer has something similar where they have a contest that you can do as well.
Yeah.
And people overthink these steps. And they say, oh, well, once I know the whole plan of how I'm going to go from 0 to where I want to be, then I'll start.
See,
you're like, no, you started and then you got in the ditch and you
see
figured it
these
out
images.
step by step.
Yeah.
You got to be in the ditch for some of this stuff to figure it out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I learned what was good and what was bad. And then I was like, well, I'm not a designer. I could waste 3 weeks on trying to learn how to do this. But if I could put $500 or $750 and get a contest, and it came out even better than I thought. So
Yeah,
I
that's
recommend
phenomenal.
the
I love
things.
to make fun of his old images.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I'll just randomly send them to
Let's
him.
see 'em.
He used
Put
to
'em up.
have like a shampoo bottle with like a quarter next to it.
We'll put some
Okay.
up on the screen for everyone to see what it looks like.
Like his original
Okay.
images.
They were made
they
in
were
PowerPoint
gold, but
by yours
yeah.
truly. And I didn't even like have a high definition. I took a screenshot from PowerPoint.
And then-
I'd make it a full screen
Yeah.
first.
And people
and
still
then I
bought
took a
it.
screenshot.
Oh, you zoomed
So
in.
like sometimes you
That's
start
the
buying
crazy
it
thing.
and then you get the images later.
That
You
makes
know
sense.
what I'm
That's
saying?
what the whole
Like,
point is like.
My
Yeah.
first like 50K
You
a
don't
month
have
in
to have a
sales
design
came
team.
from PowerPoint images that you couldn't even zoom into. They were grainy. They looked terrible. And that was 50K a month in sales. And then guess what?
Insane.
Now I've got a team of the pros who's doing it,
Yeah.
and it all looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we can go back and laugh at what I used to do, but I was in the ditch.
Yeah.
And then I found you in
You
the ditch.
put yourself in the position to start, learn, fail, and then add on to what it is. And that's another thing. It's like, I think everybody's afraid to just start and fail. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
my first product, I like broke even. So call it a failure, call it a success, whatever you want to call it. But I tried it, and then I figured out what worked and what didn't work. And now
Yeah.
my second iteration has come out 50 times better.
So phenomenal.
So this one,
Yeah.
they pretty much copied. I just wanted to use the same. So if you use the same kid, it looks like you did take
like
these
that.
pictures. You've got
This is a great
the model
picture.
situation.
And the
going.
towel
Yes.
robe.
Yeah. So she's just happy with her toys after. I didn't like this,
Okay.
the showing the dinosaur broken open, because there are those like geo things where you break it open and you get a dinosaur.
Yes.
You're selling bath bombs.
Yes.
So it just kind
Makes
of
sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, and then I just changed up the words. So it was prehistoric splash and like cuteness matched your font. Nothing, this
I
wasn't
love these
rocket
too. These are
science.
insane.
Yeah.
No,
Very
I-
similar.
It's a
but-
calming and soothing, and that's the whole idea. Is
Yeah.
It's an experience.
So the one image that I was like, don't change it.
Nice. We got one.
You guys had the,
came up
you know,
birthday hat.
I hate your font. I'm just going to be
That's
honest.
fair.
why I was
It's not mine.
Did you, pick it? Did you design
No,
this?
I did not. What they did was they actually
So
took the
I
font
just
from the box.
had my designers switch out the fonts to match what they had already done for you.
Okay.
And so it's the exact same thing. I loved the image.
Yeah,
We
they're so
got-
happy.
Yeah, we got some dinosaur hats added over here.
That's smart.
To make it look more like a birthday party.
Yeah.
And they knew mom wasn't wearing a hat. I like that. I'm not
She's
putting
very
that on.
fashionable.
Yeah.
She's not wearing that
Yeah.
hat. Her hair's gonna get messed up.
But realistically, we just changed out your font. This image was a good image. That kid is happy about this toy.
He's hype.
Yeah.
And that's
then
the whole
I
point.
changed up the words.
Perfect
you
gift for
know.
dino lovers. Surprise your little one with a dino-rific bath time adventure.
Yeah.
Ideal for birthdays.
Adventure was a keyword.
And
we had
again-
to throw it in there.
And that's one thing I will say is like I noticed, and maybe you've done it with your research on this, is I didn't see a crazy amount of keywords that are specific, which obviously I'm going
no.
for because it's dino specific egg bath bombs. It's like it's very, very niche.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously everything that somebody does see that, it's gonna be like, okay, that's exactly what I'm looking for. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's a lot of traffic that's obviously gonna be coming in from other product traffic or other PPC?
I
or
think a lot of your traffic will probably be, you know, bath time and gift giving ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
then you've got the kids who love dinosaurs. Like I had a niece and nephew who that was all they wanted all the time. And so I was searching dinosaur
Yeah.
2 winters ago. Like I didn't care what the gift was. It just
Sure.
had to have a
It
dinosaur.
just had to have-
This could very easily be the #1 ranking on bath toys.
Toys, yeah. And
know.
but then you've
awesome.
got like adventure toy. And
I
you know
know.
what I mean? Like you want to throw those keywords in there, and you want to throw boy and girl and things like that where it's broad spectrum, but there's still keywords.
I was gonna say, a
that-
lot of
Especially right
broad
now, you
campaigns.
launching,
Yeah.
like you're going to run out of stock
Siblings.
very, very quickly on this because if you just launch it as Christmas gifts for 2-year-old, toddlers, boys, girls, so that you're
I
getting
added the
those
word
ranks on
twins
there.
in your keywords.
Wow, that's smart.
I made Trevor and Trixie twins because
That's a very smart idea.
Yes.
Twins key is a keyword.
very smart
This was
idea.
the one image we didn't copy at all. This
fine.
isn't the concept you're going for. They need to go into Trevor and Trixie, or it's just a bath bomb.
Okay.
So you
I
do
like
not
it.
get a repeat.
Look, I think that it's interesting for me as an investor. We're gonna do like a little reverse Shark Tank here.
Sure.
Like I'm gonna sell you on how you're gonna build this business up to what I have down here at the bottom, an $8 million enterprise value. And I want to preface it by this: I have been so uber conservative in everything that I just put down here. Based on
it.
one product alone, we have not added anything to it. The only addition to this product, I shouldn't say one product. The only addition to this product is that we have a $30 refill bucket that has 30 eggs inside of it. So I'm guessing at your pricing, I'm putting it all together, but I'm basing it all off this box with the 12 eggs.
Sure.
Trevor and Trixie is $30. And then we have a $30 refill that comes with 30 eggs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's break this down. To just frame our mindset around this, I want to understand, what does it take for you to net $1 million in this business? Let's start by understanding what that looks like.
Sure.
So 1,000 unit sales for $30, that gets us $30,000 of revenue. I'm going to guess and assume that you're going to have around a 33% net margin as a single product company
Yeah, for
with
30.
one founder, very little overhead. So let's just call it 33% because it makes my math very simple to
There you
go through that. So we want to make $1 million in this business. How do we get you to $3 million of revenue? I had to 100x the 1,000. So you got to sell 100,000 units, which sounds like a lot, but it won't when we break this down. 100,000 units gets you to $3 million of revenue. 33% margin gets you $1 million in profit. Okay, you are now a millionaire, and most millionaires don't ever make $1 million in a year. They become millionaires over time.
Yeah.
So these are the people who, like, you're in the next category of millionaires who actually make 7 figures in a single calendar year from 2 products. Now, let's break this down. 100,000 units a year at $30 gets you $3 million in revenue. Break it down to months. And I did this math on a sheet of paper, so I might get this math messed up, but I think my numbers are right here. If we divide 100,000 units into months, we're talking about selling 8,100 units every single month. At $30, that gets you $200 and almost $250,000 a month in profit. Again, it still sounds like a lot because it's like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I've done 0 sales so far today.
Yeah.
Okay, break it down by day. And this becomes a lot more attainable. If you can sell 270 units a day, and you do that every single day for an entire year, you would sell $3 million worth of revenue. 270 is very attainable now because 270, even though it still sounds like, how do I get to 270 a month? Think about what we just talked about. We showed this to the lady at the front desk at the hotel, and she says, I want it.
No,
So if I
she
can
hadn't even
put
seen
this-
the packaging.
No
she
packaging,
hasn't seen
no
the
listing,
quality or
no
anything.
bullets.
She saw my pictures.
And didn't even
love it.
ask about price. So
Yeah.
if
She
she's
didn't
not
know.
worried
That's
about
what's
the
crazy.
price, like, that's what's so interesting
She
about
didn't
this,
say
right?
like, ooh, how much is he selling these for? She said, where can I get this?
Where can I get this?
The product is already naturally viral just based off the images. Then there's the packaging, then there's the experience, then there's all of that. So forget TikTok, forget Instagram, forget the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We're just talking about, if I can put this in front of 270 people a day who are all like, I need to have that, I'm willing to pay anything to get that, and $30 is not a lot to ask for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have 270 buyers. Well, how do we do that on Amazon? We do that by spending ads to put it in front of them. So I'm gonna make some assumptions here that you can get 20% tacos, which is total advertising cost of sales for those who don't know, and you're spending $6 per conversion to get someone to come and buy. So how many clicks is that? Let's just say you're spending 50 cents a click, and it takes 12 clicks to get a purchase. So now we can reverse engineer how many impressions you need by just multiplying the 270 times 12 to say that's how many impressions you need to actually purchase to spend $6 per ad spend per sale. Your ad spend per day needs to be about $1,620 of ad spend per day. And that's if there's nothing organic happening, everyone has to be acquired through ads, which is not going to be the case. We're being super conservative with this. Okay, now one assumption that we have to put into play here. If we can put it in front of 270 people who are going to make a purchase, like, that's awesome. Now you've gotten to the sales you need to make your $1 million in profit. But we also have this 30 pack of refill eggs. Some people are going to buy that refill pack 10 times in a year. Some are never going to buy it at all.
Yep.
Let's just assume for this that everyone who buys one is going to come back because the eggs are going to be used pretty quickly, and they're going to buy one refill pack. Again, being super conservative, because I'm going to buy 20 of these a year because I have 2 kids who want to use it every time they go into the bath, and they take a bath 5 to 7 times a week. 7 times a week. There's very few days that they actually miss. So now per customer, you're getting $60 from each customer annually that you acquire. Instead of you having $3 million of revenue, now you're at $6 million of revenue. If you can just acquire the 270 per day, they will come back. You're at $2 million of profit. And the great thing I love about building a brand versus reselling someone else's product, which you've done a lot of that, is that, okay, that bottom line profit has a multiple tied to it. And even if we give it the bare bones multiple for a company that's growing the size of what yours will, and we give that a 4X, your business valuation, your enterprise value is $8 million on a 2-product company that has this and a refill bag that goes with it. And all we have to do is find a way to get it in front of 270 people a day who want to buy it. Now, is that possible on Amazon alone? Like, you betcha. Just on Amazon alone, if you're ranking for bath toys, like, you're already there. But you also have the strategy of TikTok and Instagram, and that's going to get put in front of a ton of people a day, where if we get you spending $2,500 a day on ads, $1,500 on Amazon, and $1,000 off Amazon, just getting more exposure to people, and you're using the more organic approaches like the moms groups to get that in front of people, and you have enough inventory to make sure you can make this happen, which you have plenty of sources for inventory from companies that do this just for Amazon companies, we get you to an $8 million enterprise value, being very conservative, and I would put that on a 24-month time frame. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
To be worth $8 million
I'd be like
in 24 months.
Worth $8 million at 25 would be nice. I love it. Yeah, it gets me excited.
Yeah.
It definitely gets me excited. I like the idea that you guys were talking about. Like, it doesn't need to just be in this bath bomb niche. It can eventually just stretch out, because, again, I'm the same way. People that have seen it have gotten really excited for it. So I haven't seen the data yet. Obviously, it's selling or anything like that. But I think once it kind of hits, it will start going. And that's when I'll add in TikTok and add in all that stuff, which you didn't even go over. So
yeah,
I like that idea.
This could very easily be give you an 8-figure net worth in 24 months. The only 2 things that stand in your way is access to capital, which we just established. If you're doing sales like this and it's this viral of a product, people will give you money for it.
Yeah.
And number 2, can you, at $6 of ad spend, convert people to want to buy this product? I would suspect that once they know enough about the product, it's naturally viral enough that it won't cost you $6 per customer to acquire customers on Amazon. I think maybe $10 per customer on Facebook. But I think because you have so much organically happening, and this is a word of mouth product right here too. Like, I'm excited for you, and I'm the one reverse giving you the pitch of why you're going to be worth 8 figures. You know?
No, the idea. I again, that's where the whole mindset has been. It's been about a year of going through it, and like, you know, you always tussle back and forth. Like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? But again, I always do see, like, between the lines. Like, I have people that reach out and say, "This is a great idea," and then I'm also like, how can I get this to, like, you know, consumables, and everything's kind of just worked out really cleanly so far. So if I can get to that point where I have 271 a day, maybe even more, that'd be awesome.
You will get there. It's a matter of now understanding if it's 270 a day that I have to get to what my goal is of 3 million in revenue and then 3 million of repeat purchase. What are my KPIs that I need to be working on right now to break down 270 a day, so that if the goal is 2 years from now to be there, I've got 1 year now from start to ramp to work up to a strategy that gets me to 270 a day. And even if you just sat there at 270, which you would not, you would continue to grow from there. We haven't talked about expanding products or any, I mean, you can do so much with this, adding more of the Trevor and Trixie towels and building out. I mean, there's so much you could do with it. What are those KPIs that are going to get you towards the goal that you have? And if what I wrote down here is your goal, the only KPIs that I would be focusing on is getting this in front of as many people as possible, as cheaply as possible. I would be making so much content around the specific selling points for the kids, but mostly for the parents, of what they're going to get from it, and make it so it's shareable content, so that when a mom sees it for the first time, not only is she coming and buying it from you, but she's sending it to 10 of her friends. Like, this is a game changer. Yeah, like, you should get this too. I just ordered these, like, go get yours too. It's such a phenomenal way to grow a business when you have a viral product. that's like this. But keep your KPIs in mind. Know what your goal is and design your KPIs for what you know. If I do these activities, it will result in X number of sales per day, and reverse engineer that process. I got to bring us home and sum this up because I'm excited and my heart's beating as I'm thinking about how rich you're going to be, and I'm excited for you. But if I can sum up what we talked about here today, as cool as the product is, I think what makes you special is the fact that you've been in this game figuring it out for years. You've been doing this since you were in college. Yes, you're in this pay-for-performance job where you're a motivated guy to begin with, but you've taken that motivation and put a vision behind it. And when you put vision behind motivation to not just say, I need to make money on this today, it allows you to have the time to let that vision resonate a little bit and let that fester a little bit so it can grow into what it will be in the future. And the delayed gratification of what you're building right now, instead of trying to turn $10K a month somewhere, is saying, I'm building towards an $8 million enterprise value. Like, that's what I'm about. I'm okay with that delayed gratification. That's what makes you special. And I think that the actions that you're taking right now, you're positioned so perfectly for this. You have a girlfriend?
I do.
Okay, don't lose this guy. Okay. Okay, because this guy is going places. So
no, I appreciate
love what
it,
you're doing, man. I appreciate you coming on and being a part of the podcast today. I hope that this motivates a lot of people too, to see what you're up to, what you're about, and how they can sit down with a sheet of paper and really reverse engineer what they want their business to look like and break that down into a monthly goal, into a daily goal. Like, that can be done. But that's only possible if you have a phenomenal product and you put the time and effort into iterating on the product. And for that, I commend you, because without a great product, it ain't happening. No. Like, it's not possible.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Kind words. Thank you guys for taking the time.
Yeah, and we'll send you all the stuff that we have from these.
Yes, please.
So you have access to that.
You guys
use them if you'd like to. If you don't want to use them, hey, there's no hard feelings here. Right?
It might hurt my feelings.
Just a little bit. She will have her feelings hurt. So that means you better use them. Okay?
There
if we don't
go.
see them live on the Amazon listing, we're coming after. We know where you live now.
You do.
So.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's all right. The one thing I do want to say is, especially to you, Steve, is like, you've literally been, like I always say, my unofficial mentor. So I really appreciate it. Like, even when I first told people about you, like, who's this guy? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking to him. We had a really good conversation. And now to meet you in person, like, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And thank you as well, Jacqui. Like, it really means a lot. And, that's what keeps me even more motivated. I motivate you, but you motivate me.
Hell yeah, man.
More than you know.
I love to hear that, because, again, like, for anyone listening, like, you're not paying me for this.
No.
Like, I am getting as much from this and the excitement
you spent money
as I
on
hope
this.
you are. Yes, 100%. Right?
I didn't.
But this is so important, I think, to get in your willingness to share with other people and not be like a lot of the other private label brand builders who want to keep it all close to home. Like, I don't want to talk about my product. I don't want someone to steal my idea. And you're like, you know what? Fucking steal my idea. I dare you to try. This was hard. This was super. You know how many iterations I did to get to this? Like, good luck figuring that out.
I think it really does. Like you said, it comes down to the product, but it comes down to, like, how easy is it for somebody to steal? It's like, you could steal this, but you're not going to steal the same idea I have. You're not going to say, and you're going to be second to it anyway. But I think it really does come down to product creation, but again, just trying. Like, the first product I had of this, when I had the iteration, I was like, it's kind of shitty. And then I got better and better and better, and now I'm like, I love it. So try, fail, fuck up, succeed.
Exactly. And I'll give you one last piece of advice to go out of this with. And this is advice for anyone who's made a really cool product like you have here. Never forget that what makes you special is that you come up with the product ideas, because it's very easy now that you're going to go and start the business to get bogged down in all the design and the marketing and figuring out cool, like, TikTok videos and having fun. But don't forget, like, this is what makes you special. And there's nothing that you can't outsource to find someone who's way better at it than you to come in, because you want to scale to an $8 million business. Ideally, a lot more than that. You want to be the Bath Experience company. This can be a $50 million company. No problem. Like, add me 20 more products that are like this, or expand this a little bit more, and you're a $50 million e-commerce mogul. But that's only going to happen if you maintain focus on, hey, here's what I'm really good at. And for most founders in e-commerce, it's their product people and their content people. It's founder-led content and knowing that I know how to make this.
I know.
And if you keep that in mind and don't let yourself get bogged down in the day-to-day grind that slows everybody down, and you just keep on focusing on product and content, I see you going to the moon and back. So That's my advice to you. Stay focused on what you're phenomenal at and let everybody else do the stuff that you have to go out and learn to make it happen.
Outsource it if you can.
Yeah, 100%. Phenomenal.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for doing it, man.
Yeah, man. That was awesome.
That's a wrap.